and call the meeting to order at 1:02 p.m. And we'll start with our roll call and a welcome to everyone who is here. Craig Pepper. Absent. Dave Brennan.
Here.
Present. Mark Tannenbaum is absent. Melinda Meyer, I'm here. Jeff Zalonis. Here. Ex officio member Jason Wazorek. Okay, absent.
No, I'm here. I'm online.
Oh, great! Thanks, Jason. Sorry, it's hard to tell. And Chris Kinder. Fantastic. Okay, so I think that we are probably still missing a copy of the April minutes. So we'll skip that. Moving then to the review and approval of the May minutes. In Craig's absence, who is our secretary, Mark Tannenbaum prepared them. And I should ask.
I'm writing already.
Thank you.
She wants me to be secretary. Oh, back up. Okay. All right. Space shuttle.
There are a couple of typos that aren't necessarily drastic. But so for instance, number 5, the matching funds, the comma's in the wrong spot.
Did he correct the spelling on your name? No.
On whose name?
Yours?
Mine.
Yes.
Oh,
Malinda.
I have the Word version of this, so I can make those changes.
okay. I didn't see anything else, but yes. Correcting my name, please.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes with those minor corrections.
Okay, I will second. All in favor of approving the minutes with the corrections, please signify by aye.
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 I could.
Okay, minutes pass. We have the update of the Historic Preservation Plan next on the agenda.
So we had a, goodness, that's loud. We had a Zoom meeting the other day with the Lakota group. Melinda was on the Zoom meeting. We're all with members of our steering committee, reviewing kind of the updated draft of the State of the City report, which is kind of the first phase of the preservation plan. It looks fantastic. I think we got a lot of good feedback from those that were in attendance. The next phase, Melinda, correct me if I misunderstood and I don't have my notes in front of me. They'll be having public meetings, but I don't know if that's after the final draft with guidelines or if that comes before then. I don't recall.
The review with the public meeting should actually come before it's actually finalized and presented to council.
Right, exactly. I just didn't know if they were going to include the next phase before the public meetings or not. That's right. Can't remember offhand. But those are the next phases, is to develop the phase 2 or the guidelines and recommendations. So I'm looking forward to seeing those and seeing what they come up with. But right now it's a really beautiful document. If you haven't had a chance to look at it, it's in the OneDrive folder for everybody. I'm really looking forward for more people to get their eyes on this, and I'm really looking forward to getting it out to the public. So. There will probably, I know in one of their timelines, they kind of missed the planning commission step, so this may put us a month behind or so, but that's not too bad. We still should have this, I think, hopefully adopted by late September or probably more like October once it gets through city council, so.
So, in addition to the Historic Review Commission members having access, as well as the steering committee, to the current drafts of at least the state of the city portion of the Historic Preservation Plan, know too, since we have an audience here today, know too that you can access the current draft of the state of the city plan. So if you go to eriepreservationplan.com, that is the project website for the citywide historic preservation plan. And if you click on documents, it will take you to the bottom of the homepage where you have access to, it looks like, both an Erie information sheet as well as the current draft of the state of the city portion of the historic preservation plan. Any questions from the other commissioners? Damn exciting if I don't say so myself. Okay, moving on then to new business. We have a nomination for a historic overlay for a single structure. Well, for a single property, let me put it that way, a single property. Do you want to provide any context, or should I just jump into?
We could jump. The only context I want to mention is that this is not the public hearing for this. This is just kind of the first review of it. If we like the draft and we think it's ready, then we'll schedule the public hearing for our next meeting.
So the nomination is for the Way-Built Weber House at 317 Frontier Drive. This is within the Frontier neighborhood. It's a Spanish Mission style home, great history, great character and integrity. Were there any questions about the nomination? Any questions that we would need the property owner to address before we actually go out to public comment?
Maybe you could explain to our audience here what a historic nomination means for designating an individual landmark.
Oh, see, we're so used to having these meetings without live people in the room. So you're a captive audience. Several, now probably about 2 years ago, maybe 3, the city's historic ordinance was revised. It's an ordinance that actually created this commission. It's the Historic Review Commission, and created a process by which locally important historic properties could be designated by the city of Erie. Once designated, that means that those properties, at least on the exterior, have some degree of protection, and when property owners then who have their homes designated, or commercial properties designated, or historic sites like maybe a historic cemetery are designated, when the property owner wants to make extensive changes, they would come before this commission just to have their proposed changes reviewed. And then the commission issues what's called a certificate of appropriateness, which authorizes the property owner to go forth with their changes. The idea of the local designation is to protect not just individual properties, especially if there are properties that have many different owners over a period of time, right? The designation remains regardless of whether or not ownership changes, but also to really preserve our historic neighborhoods. So in some neighborhoods, we know that the integrity of the buildings have been well preserved. In other neighborhoods, we know that there have been some challenges. Maybe some properties have not been cared for to the best of anyone's ability, and so it has created some challenges for the neighbors, right? So again, this is a program that's designed to really protect what city residents feel are our most important historic assets. And so we do have a process. We have a nomination process. So on the city's website, it's incredibly difficult to find, so we'll apologize for that up front. If you go to commissions and boards on the city website, you can click on that. And I don't think this has changed. You scroll down until you find Historic Review Commission, and then you click on that and you'll find all of our supporting documents. You'll find the bylaws for the Historic Review Commission. I think you'll also find the link to Ordinance Number 7, which is the Historic Overlay District Ordinance and the ordinance that creates this commission. You'll also find the nomination form. So if you happen to have a property or maybe have a neighborhood that you think would be a good candidate for local designation, there is a nomination process. You complete the nomination form, it gets submitted to us, and to simplify I'm just going to provide a quick overview because it is a several month process. From us, it then goes on to the Planning Commission where there's, we do have a public meeting, public discussion. It goes to the Planning Commission who reviews it. They then take a recommendation of whether to approve or deny and have their own discussion about the nomination. If it passes the Planning Commission review, it then goes on to City Council. And actually that's where the public meeting is held, and City Council reviews the nomination, the recommendation from the Planning Commission, the recommendation from the Historic Review Commission, and they make a decision. And the reason it's such a complicated process is because it is actually a change to zoning. This creates an additional overlay for the property or properties that are being designated as historic. That's a nutshell. And I see some nods, I see some smiles, I see some others like, oh my gosh, I didn't sign up for this. Okay, so thank you.
Well, the important thing is to realize that it is something available from the city. There are certain guidelines for buildings or districts that are nominated as historic districts, locally designated historic districts. But again, it's done with the input of the public. So if your neighborhood, for instance, was several residents wanted to become part of a historic district, you would certainly have the opportunity to give input. As Melinda said, we recommend, the Planning Commission recommends, City Council in the end has to vote to create the district because it is a change to the zoning ordinance. So just so you know, it's not something we're going to force on anybody, right? It should be that people want to be a part of it and there are advantages to it. So.
And Jeff, as we discussed in the beginning, it was something that was community-led. You know, we weren't going to go try to push on anybody. It's something that we kind of note the process and then they come to us if they want it to happen. We advise them and then the process starts as Melinda explained. So great.
And generally that process starts with a meeting with myself as the historic preservation planner to kind of help understand what we're looking for in a nomination, what's needed and things like that. And gives us a chance to, at least myself, to kind of look at the building and see if it would be eligible for local designation, which a lot of buildings in Erie are. So, but there's always help there for the process.
So this particular Wade-built house, Wade-built River House, actually would be just a single site that's being designated, not a whole district. But the $15,000 grants that you are all here to talk about, you don't have to be part of a historic district. That's available to any house in the city of Erie as long as it meets the requirements of being basically 50 years of age or older. So that's a benefit available to everybody.
So do we have any questions, any concerns, any suggested edits for the nominee?
No, I congratulate them. They did a really thorough job, a very professional job.
No comments here.
Okay, excellent.
Well,
So we have,
I would say I'll schedule the meeting for public hearing for July, our July meeting.
Do we need
okay.
to make a motion that we approve?
If
Or
you'd
we
like to, we can
recommend, or we
formalize it.
recommend, right? So I'll make a,
Well, according to Chris, we need to have the public meeting before we make a formal determination.
Yes.
okay, all right, so we won't.
Yeah.
So there's no action.
Yeah, I think this is just more of a discussion to make sure, because I've already said it's complete, fully complete and ready. So this is just kind of a chance for the commission to look over it and determine the same.
Seems like a complete nomination.
Very complete.
So then we'll move on to the next item on the agenda, which is the review of several historic building improvement grant applications. We did, just so that you all know, we did seem to have some technology issues. Even though there are 11 applications listed on our agenda to review, the commissioners had access to 9. So there are 2 which may have individuals in the room who will be presenting, but the commissioners have not yet seen your application. We're just going to go through the order within the agenda, and so when your name is called, please feel free to come up to the podium, tell us a little bit about your project. We have seen your application. I have access to it. Chris has printed copies of it, so if we have additional questions, we can always refer to your application that is here. So the first individual, Noel, you get to be first on the list. Would you like to come up and tell us a little bit about your project? Do I need to lean into the microphone? Sometimes our voices don't carry. Does that work better? This you heard?
You would like to know why I am interested in getting the money from the grant?
You're welcome to tell us about your project. Again, we have your application. We've looked at your application. We just want to hear from you if you'd like to explain what you're doing in your own words.
The outside of my house hasn't been painted since '02, and eventually I'm going to have to sell the house, reluctantly, and I would like to have it painted before I sell the house. I contacted the painter that had done the work in the past, had done the whole painting and done partial painting, and he came and gave me a quote, and I felt the quote was fair, so I only contacted him.
Very good. Thank you so much. The only question that, oh, you have a question as well?
Well, are you going to talk about the inside painting?
I did actually talk
Okay.
to her via email and just mentioned that
Okay.
the grant wouldn't cover the interior of the house, and she understood that. So
Do we know what the cost for the exterior is alone?
Yeah, they broke it out on the quote. They gave a price for
Did it?
interior and exterior paint. So, the one thing I would say, Noel, is I noticed on the pictures that you submitted, the brick on the chimney probably needs to be looked at too. Yeah, I don't know if you saw the pictures, Dave, but it's like, they didn't put a wash on the chimney, right? It's just bricks laid like up in steps, and it's starting to
I
loosen up.
got
So-
that message, and
Okay.
I contacted today a company that was recommended to me and put it on the voicemail to please contact me.
Okay, so that is not included in the, but it would be eligible, and once the first project is completed, you could apply for a second grant to do those repairs. So you might as well.
Do I have to wait until the painting is done before I?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Because he said he would probably do it in August.
Okay, yep, you might as well take advantage of it, you know. Okay,
So looking at the exterior only, it looks like the cost for that is $3,400.
okay,
If I'm reading the estimate correctly. So it says prep and paint all wood siding and trim of house and garage. Prep and paint front iron railings, labor and materials is $3,400. Then the interior work is the $775. So $3,400. And if we look at 10% of 3,400, the total amount that we could grant is $3,060. with $340 coming from you.
That is fine. Better than
3,060?
3,000.
3,060, if I've done this correctly.
You have-
On $3,400, or 3,400,
100.
3,060?
She's on the money.
Okay. Well, 10% is 340, right? $340.
Right?
Okay, all right. Okay,
Do your math, Jeff.
okay.
Go ahead. We'll wait.
No, what I was going to say was, I forget now. On the grant, on the cost. I'll think of it.
The 10% is the required
Right.
contribution from the property owner.
Right, right. There's something else I was going to mention on this one, but can't think of it now. Oh, okay, the motion, that was it. So I'm going to make a motion, I'm going to carefully word this, that the Historic Review Commission approves this grant as being historically accurate for the building. We don't approve the grant, right? All we're doing is we're saying the work is keeping with the historic character of the building. So that's what
We're approving the grant.
do we do that, or is the?
No,
does the-
we
approve. We approve both that it's fitting for the property, and then we also vote to approve the grant.
And the redevelopment authority doesn't have a chance to say it is not, they have no issues with
No,
it?
they get to the applications first, they send them to me, I review them, and then I send them, the ones that are complete, I send to the commission for approval for both that it's going to be historically appropriate for the building and not damage or change the building, and then you also vote to approve the funding.
Okay, so,
We have for all of the others. We approve the grant itself.
okay, all right, so I will make that motion that we approve the grant for the Trask Avenue residents.
Okay, we have a motion.
I'll second.
We have a second. All in favor of approving the grant to 420 Trask Avenue in the amount of $3,060. Please signify by aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Oh, have you chosen a color, by the way? Just out of curiosity, have you chosen a color?
White.
Right.
Beautiful.
That's what it's been, and I like it.
Perfect. Thank you.
I'm having a harder time choosing a color on the inside.
Yes, they just started not last week, the week before.
Okay.
Okay. So our next
you
application
so much.
is Sarah Reed, the St. Anne's campus. It is at 1020 East 10th Street. And I see we've got representatives, yes, from Sarah Reed's.
Thank you for the opportunity to be here today, and I can't believe that it's almost been exactly, as of tomorrow, 1 year since I was in this hallowed hall talking about historic preservation. Just a couple very quick points. I'm going to read a very quick quote, and I think it ties into historic preservation and also what we're all about. "There's a loyalty to all sorts of things," Lance said after a while. "I don't know if I'd be so quick to characterize the past as past. The past is dead in some ways, but memory isn't. It comes back to memories, a past that lives, a connection. Here in the small place between then, now, yesterday, today, and tomorrow, all coming together on this island." And I guess after my year of experience working now with St. Anne's and trying to have a lot of moving targets, and that piece that I gave you all a copy of obviously couldn't be in this grant because there's so much that has happened. But I can tell you that when I look at this, I look at not only the bricks and the mortar on the outside, but what has happened to the children that have used that facility actually now since 1925. So that's 98 years. If you look at the site there at 10th and East Avenue, they actually had a church, social hall, and a school put there in 1895. So I guess it has a little historic relevancy. And I guess also because of the fact that, well, it was built in 1925 with money, but also some estate money and some very hard work in 1945. It burned, and then it was rebuilt by the former Monsignor McBride, which is sort of a fascinating story because he said, we've got to get that building built back so we can keep educating the children. So that was done within a year after it was burned. He got out of his deathbed to pass a blessing on that and died shortly afterwards because he had been inflicted with cancer. So there's a real legacy, a real history to this place. In fact, I've been taking people through this building now over the last 365 days, and I keep hearing this place has a lot of good bones to it. And what we're trying to do is deal with the inside and also at the same time trying to deal with the preservation of the outside and make a difference in this whole area that we're in now. Because, again, it's in the Pulaski Lighthouse District, one of the most challenged districts in the community. We've served over 115 children as of today with the summer program last year, which is quite a bit because a year ago we had served 0 children at that site. And so, like there was a quote the other day I just spoke to a parent from the classroom while scheduling a discharge, and she said that she is so happy that her son came to St. Anne's. She sees a positive change in him at home and in his school. It reports that she is very grateful. Thank you for what you have done for him. And that wasn't a setup. That was a quote that literally came from the heart. And I think from what I have seen, we've helped also just recently. We had Sarah's giveaway where we had 400 people from the neighborhood that came in, and they came in to get clothes, library books, you name it. We had Hammett UPMC Medical Center there dealing with Medicaid because a lot of them have, with this change that's occurred, a lot of them didn't understand some of those things that need to be done. We also had dental. And we also had someone in there to deal with the WIC program with food for the younger kids. So it's not only a place that we're trying to fix on the outside, but also to really be a community partner in that area and to really sort of re-energize it. And a year ago, if you would have been there were no cars in the parking lot. Well, if you went there today or you've gone there over the last year, there's been a tremendous amount of activity and a lot of things, taking place there. But I just wanted to interject that. And at the same time, we're at the very early stages of trying to work on the outside of that building. It's going to take time. We don't have deep pockets. But the thing is that I felt that if we were able to at least get a start with grant support, it would give us the momentum to then go after possibly the Keystone Historic Preservation construction grants, because we just missed that by a few days when I originally made this proposal, trying to go after maybe the Anchor Building Program, go after some others, that we would attack this big picture, sort of the big effort that we need to make, because if any of you have seen it, it's an old building and it needs a lot. Plus the pictures I provided to you, you can see, because it's there's work that needs to be done. But that's enough from me. Do you have any questions that I can try to answer for you?
So I was curious about the total estimate from Northwest Restoration is $70,000.
Right.
So.
And that was, Melinda, that was done early. That wasn't, that wasn't recent.
Okay.
Because that was, if you look at the date at the top, that was in November, because I was trying to hit inside, boilers, heaters, outside, inside.
Okay.
And that was a quote at that point. So I'm quite sure that we'd have to go back to the drawing board and, sharpen the pencil,
Okay.
from that. But that at least gave us a a basic idea of what this would cost.
Sure. So do you, are you thinking of then trying to, so if we were to grant $15,000,
Right.
you'd have to come up with $1,500?
Yep.
Which would be a 16.5 project. Are
Right.
you thinking of doing a 16.5 project?
For starters,
Okay.
for starters, and then I look at it almost like maybe like 5, 6, 7 phases, because once we can get some larger gifts, grants, then we can really go at this, because we've been dealing with the inside, trying to get tables and chairs for the kids. Some of the furniture in there was, I'd say, post-Civil War. So they don't have post-Civil War furniture now. But this is all the kind of things that you need.
Sure.
So there's been a lot of moving parts. But I look at it as, when I just drove by the cathedral, I saw, all those roofers up there. And I know in various historic preservation projects that I've seen, they don't all occur in one shot. And that's sort of where we would be at. But I think the key would be is to try to put into place a long-term, constant move towards it. Because I was involved with repointing at Mercyhurst, and we didn't do the whole building all at once. We had to do this wall, that wall, that wall. So whatever. So that's exactly, Melinda, how we would be looking at it. But I felt if we don't get started with the first step to Rome, we won't get to Rome.
Sure.
So,
Yeah, Gary, I'm guessing that the weather side of the building probably is the worst condition. Maybe there's more mortar missing or whatever.
right.
You could
right.
probably start in the worst area and then work your way around.
Exactly. And the thing, David, is that we would have him, he was there to evaluate it, and Chris who is our maintenance man, he's looked at it. In fact, even that one picture I have there, that's been updated, because we went around and gently power wash, because that'll be a sensitive thing, gently, because some of those things, as you'll see, are pretty hammered with some of that cement coming out, so you can't attack it with
Yeah.
full force,
Try the
so to speak.
minimal method to get
Yep.
to
Yep.
it.
Yeah, there's got to be a lot of sensitivity to the building. And the building has a lot of features in it that piece that juts out. In fact, I've proposed that we establish a legacy room where we will have some pictures of the folks that have gone there over the years, and maybe have a picture of Monsignor McBride in there, so when these kids come in, they know who the heck got this place started. And on top of it, we're trying to establish a sense of history within that building to kids that normally would never have. We're doing things that they probably wouldn't normally experience, because we started teaching a little social studies on Promethean boards. Well, I could tell you, last year when we had the summer school, there were kids in that group of children who had never been to Presque Isle State Park between 8 and 18. They didn't know what it was. I was shocked. Then when we told them we're going to take them to the Blasco Library, they thought it was the library downstairs, not on the bayfront. So, those are things of, opening doors for kids that never would have had it. And we just had a science teacher in that gave a lecture to these kids on plastics and water. We just had another one on environmental to a group of older kids upstairs, because we have a lot of different age ranges. And these kids, and I sat on the sidelines because I wanted to see it and experience it. Because unless you experience it, you can't. This isn't just teaching. I guess if it was up to me, I'd have what I call the Japanese system. Kids would be in school probably 360 days out of the year. But that's me,
Right.
So anyway.
So let me clarify. The quote in your submittal is for $70,000. Your first project is going to be $15,000 plus the $1,500. So what you're asking for is, it's really a $16,500 project, and we would get the $15,000 grant.
Correct.
Okay.
Right.
But I think, first of all, I don't think there's any question that Sarah Reed Children's Center is doing amazing things at the St. Anne's Center. The only, if we hold all of our applicants to the same standards, I think that what we would probably want to see, at least me, I'd like to see an estimate from Northwest Restoration for the work that would be specifically.
For that 16.5?
Yes.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah,
Yes.
I agree with you. In fact, I look at it this way. We're going to learn from this, just like I have learned from what's gone on 6th Street, because I'm part of that. So I've watched how that's grown and developed and matured. And, I absolutely you would have a quote.
Okay, and the other thing too is Chris will need to come out and inspect the work was done, so he's going
Oh,
to
yeah.
need to know. We did the west elevation.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, absolutely. And on top of it, I assure you, we'll be taking pictures every other day because I want accountability. That's my trademark and what I do.
So I might ask to table this, make a motion to table this until we receive the quote. And then if you get the quote to us, we will finish the review of your application at the
Okay.
July meeting.
Okay, that sounds good.
Sounds
And
good.
I'll get that to you right away. And Melinda, where should I direct? Should I direct?
Send it to
every-
Chris.
To Chris? Okay.
Send
Okay.
it to Chris.
And thank you for and any other questions? I'm sorry.
I'll formally make a motion to table this application for that very reason until, and review it, finish the review when we receive the estimate for the specific work to be done under the grant.
I second that.
Second, all in favor signify by aye.
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 Okay,
thank
thank you
you.
very much. And
Thank
if
you,
you have
Gary.
any suggestions on the next stage, phase, or other possibilities, please let me know. We'll be following up on them.
Thanks, Gary.
Thank you. Wonderful. And Craig, I'm going to change you to present on the
Thank
roll
you.
call.
Yes,
Yep,
I'm
you're
sorry,
here.
I'm late, but I'm here.
And welcome.
Thank you.
So up next, we have our 3 properties with our West Bayfront. And I don't know that it matters which property, just on the agenda, we have 811, then 911, then 521. But feel free to go in whatever order you'd like.
Sure. My name is Dan Pirtle. I'm a neighborhood asset manager for our West Bayfront. If you don't know who our West Bayfront is, we're a neighborhood revitalization organization on the west side between the Bayfront and 12th Street all the way to Sassafras. These properties are 3 properties we own. We've already scoped out work on all 3 of these properties. I work hand in hand with the redevelopment authority, and I use their same Xactimate software, which is basically an insurance underwriter software, to come up with these estimates. 911 Walnut has had a formal quoting process already done on it. The bids on that came in anywhere from $205,000. I had one that was $500,000, threw that one out. But the project that we've submitted to you would be similar to Sarah Reed. Is you're going to be a drop in the bucket towards my total renovation for all 3 of these properties. They all need extensive facade work. They don't need roofs on them because they've all been re-roofed as soon as we bought them. But 911 is going to need new siding, new porch, decking, better columns so it looks more historically accurate, and same with 811 West 7th and what was it, 521 East 3rd. So very, very similar in scopes. We have not yet had a formal scope on the other 2 properties yet because we're still early on with that as far as the bidding process. But that was kind of our thought in applying for the grant. Is our mission with these properties is to keep them properties in Erie rather than having them blighted and torn down. They're all fairly old homes. They're going to be beautiful when they're done, but they require an extensive amount of work. If you're curious as far as these estimates, my estimates have been coming in within 5 to 10% of contractors' bids. So it's a pretty powerful software. It uses updated pricing lists. So, and I can understand if you want to wait and get formal quoting in. I do have quotes that I can provide for 911, but the software is pretty accurate.
So you're thinking that you might do facade treatments, I don't, off the top of my head, know all these buildings, but whatever that facade restoration or whatever has to be, would you be able to identify between the three buildings how much would go to each one?
Yes, yeah, and that's how I applied. I split it out per each one. I took off portions of my total estimates and put it in there as the exterior to meet the historic grant. Ideally, what I would like to see, kind of following the broken window theory, is some of these have been boarded up. You can tell that they're abandoned. And I deal with it a lot with the east side as well. When a house sits abandoned for a while, and next thing you know, it's broken into. Next thing you know, there's some real problems. If I can get these looking very nice on the outside and show the neighbors and everyone in the neighborhood that we have movement, it tends to keep that from happening.
I noticed on the pictures that the one, specifically the one on West 3rd Street, they've kind of,
I have my computer on.
the railing and the porch that's there is not historically accurate.
Right.
Would you put it back so that it looks
Yes.
historically accurate? Okay.
Yes.
In the other houses, I don't know if that's original or not, but you put it back at least so that it maintains.
Yeah,
that.
9/11 is pretty close to being what it would have looked like original.
Okay.
But we would definitely get it up to par and get it looking consistent with what its history
Because
is.
the one on, I think it was 9th Street, had some really nice, on Walnut Street, had some
Yeah.
really nice
Yes.
brackets and stuff on the columns. So you'll preserve that so it.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, make it look like that.
Yes.
Historic,
All right.
okay, good. That's good.
Those were all of my questions as well. For everyone, I have the same question. Will the detailing be retained? Will the
Yeah,
detailing
we plan
be
on, like
retained?
9/11 has really nice corbels on it. We plan on maintaining all that, and I've scoped all that out.
Okay.
So that's part of what we try and do, is not just kind of wash the neighborhood with contemporary styling, keep it somewhat historically accurate.
So you were talking about trying to make this one look more original?
Yes.
Okay.
And so you have a combination then of also historic materials and more contemporary materials, if I recall correctly. I
Yes.
think like the columns, all of the columns, I think you have spec'd for wooden columns. But some of the railings, I thought I may have seen vinyl.
Some of the railings will go to either vinyl or aluminum clad,
Okay.
depending on what we can put in, but still with a styling that looks historically accurate.
Okay.
But you don't have the specific amounts and
I have
estimate for
specific
each?
amounts that I can itemize for 9/11 Walnut. The other two have not been bid out yet because we're still working on the interior scope.
so what was your intent, to spread the 15 over the three, or to just have it all in
No,
one?
3 separate applications.
Okay,
Yep.
all right,
Requesting the full 15,000 for each.
For each one.
okay.
521 West 3rd Street is the roof replacement for the porch. Also the fascia soffit for the porch as well, the replacement of the columns and railing, repair the brick around the base of the porch. There's also door replacement and replacement of 3 windows. So all of that is combined into a total of 175,000. For the 911 Walnut Street, this again is a full porch repair, new decking, siding, railing, fascia, soffit, steps. 811, and that total is 18.5. And then 811 West 7th Street is porch, replacement of porch, roof, fascia, soffit, columns, railings, decking, installing new gutters and lattice. And I think, yes, that was $19,230.
Speaking of those gutters, I was even able to find a historically accurate gutter pricing for that when I looked it up in my software. So, because you don't want to just slap on a regular seamless, you want it to be accurate to what the roof line looks like.
So again, the estimates that were provided were from your software,
Yes.
right? Yeah.
So for your inspection after the project is done, is what's in the grant request segment definition for you to know what is being, the work that is being done?
For me, yes, this is a detailed scope of work. I mean, in here you talk about wanting to be at least accurate enough with modern materials. I that's plenty enough for me to go on.
Okay, so we don't need any more better definition of what's the scope of work is, other than what's in your grant. Okay, all right.
Dave, did you have any
No,
concerns with this one?
nope,
Okay.
yes, all my questions.
Okay, so I'll make a motion that we approve all 3 of the grants to our West Bayfront, and you guys are doing a good job. I didn't realize you owned those buildings until I started reading the grant application, so you're,
Yep.
yeah, saving them from falling into total disrepair. And,
Yeah, it's been a challenge to get all the funding together. You know, you start seeing numbers of $250,000 to restore a house, it's kind of daunting, but a grant like this will definitely get us in the right direction.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And my boss Anna might be angry if I said it, but if you have anyone else that's struggling with estimates, we have access to software, and they're in the West Bayfront neighborhood. I've helped others, and we've sent people your way as far as the historic preservation grant, and we appreciate it.
Very good.
Good.
Do we have a second?
And I'll second.
Oh,
Second and
everyone's
third.
leaping off their
We'll
chairs.
third it.
Yeah.
Okay, all in favor of approving the motion to approve these 3 grants? Please signify by aye.
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 Fantastic, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, next on our list, we have Stephen Kinross. No? 507 Sanford Place? Is this someone who's online?
I think that's the only one I didn't hear back from.
Okay. Let's go ahead then and pull up Stephen's application. They are looking to replace 21 windows. The total cost of the project is $10,795. They are looking for a grant in the amount of $9,715.50, and the 10% matching fund would be $1,079.50. So 21 windows for 10,000, that's inexpensive.
Inexpensive.
I actually might recommend I hate tabling, but did this individual want to speak with us at all?
Actually, in full transparency, it's my neighbor.
Okay.
And we've looked at the house, right? The houses are, the windows are original to the house, and there's a lot of rot and stuff, and they may not, do they get the email, or the letter from you says the grant has been approved? Do they get a follow-up email that talks about this meeting, to attend this
Yeah,
meeting?
so once the grant applications have been reviewed by me to make sure they're complete for review by the full commission, I send them an email telling them what date, time, and then if they want to chime in, that's it.
Okay, so they may have not got the,
And this is all exterior work to the windows?
yeah, it's all,
Yeah.
yes,
Okay.
yes. So I know a little bit about it, so.
The questions I had were just making sure that the new windows fill the existing opening, right? It's a 1-to-1.
I talked to him about
Style.
that, and maintaining the divided lights and making it look historically accurate. Yes, he's aware of that.
And that is the style of window he's purchasing?
Yeah, it'll match the existing, with the existing. I think the top is divided into 3 lights, and the bottom is 1 solid light, but he's aware that he's got to match the existing.
He didn't give us a picture of the whole house, so we just have the windows.
Yes, right.
Let me see if I can pull it up for you. 507 Sanford.
Which do look like they need help.
And that wasn't all the pictures he sent, that was just all that the scanner would allow me to upload. without
Oh,
being too
okay.
big.
They look better on there than the ones that came in the
Yeah.
document. Yeah, so clearly.
Yeah, and they were all very similar pictures, so I just picked out the ones that
Yeah.
weren't,
Okay.
you can see kind of the rot. Are they all, what I didn't know is, what she said, are they all 1-over-1 or are they divided lights?
The top is 3
So
three lights over 1, yeah.
Thank you all for bearing with us.
Oh. That is, it's darling. Sanford Place, where is that?
You know where Edison School is?
Calvary.
Oh, okay.
Edison School,
Yeah.
right down the street from there. The future new Edison School. So yes, I did tell him he's got to match the appearance.
Okay. Do we need any reassurances? Do we feel comfortable enough to vote?
Everyone's comfortable, you can also go to conditionally approve as long as the windows match.
And then you take care of the,
And I would be informing
okay.
that it's
Okay.
approved.
All right, so I'll make a motion to approve it, or to that we approve the grant, based on the fact that the windows will match the existing.
So we have a motion to approve the grant contingent on final confirmation that the 21 windows will indeed match the original historic windows.
Okay.
Do I have a second?
And you're saying match, what do you mean? Configuration, material?
Right. Well, the configuration, right, the number of
Configuration,
lights.
okay.
Yeah,
It would be 3 over 1.
yeah, kind of same color, white.
I mean, I just want to note that.
Configuration, size.
Yeah, versus exact.
Okay.
So we have revision to the motion. Jeff, you're okay?
Yep.
Okay, so revision to the motion to approve the $9,715.50 grant, contingent upon final confirmation that the replacement windows will have the same configuration, size, physical appearance to the original windows. Is that extensive enough?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And final confirmation will be an email to Chris saying exactly that we will match size and configuration.
Okay, so we have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor of the motion, please signify by aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. And I do see that we've had a number of shifts in our audience today. Is there anyone who absolutely has to leave? We can adjust the agenda if you're needing to exit. Okay. Carol Israelson? Did I butcher that?
No, that was great. I'm
Okay.
Barbara, I'm Carol's daughter. And if I may speak on our behalf.
Sure.
Please, yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much for hearing us today. I have brought additional pictures to attest to the condition of the roof. That's the meat of this project. We would be happy to get a more formalized estimate. We were previously working with our West Bayfront, and we are just barely not under their income requirements. And, obviously we were really heartbroken to hear that. I believe the bid scope that we provided, and I have electronic copies, if you would like to review that. I believe that was prepared by Dan, working through our West Bayfront. The only items that were not covered under that bid scope were some of the painting on the front of the house, and any repair to the wood that might need to be done. I believe I included a letter in the application to kind of explain the history of the situation. My father took out a line of credit on the property because he and my mother were small business owners, and that money was used to fund the small business. And my parents were icons in the community, you know what I mean? They were local business owners and very active. And unfortunately, 2 years later, he passed away. And in order to keep the house, we had to pay off that loan, which we have done. Unfortunately, in the intervening time when we realized that a lot of these big projects needed to be accomplished, when we reached out to insurance, they said, listen, these repairs need to be made before we can insure the property. And of course, we can't get a line of credit on the property without the insurance. So now we're a little bit between a rock and a hard place, if you'll excuse the expression, where we need the money to make these repairs to get it insured. And then once we can get it insured, we'll be able to go after, obtain a line of credit to continue to maintain the house. We had a gentleman come look at the furnaces this past winter, and they are 35 to 40 years old, so that's now also a pressing item, but top-down approach, we'll get the roof done first, and then we'll take care of the furnaces next. But, unfortunately, it's just me and my mom, and I love her to pieces, and I take care of her, and so that's why we're here today, is to ask for a little bit of grace to get us on track.
So in the application, right, it talks about the house roof and the porch and the garage roof and exterior painting, but you're strictly talking about a grant for the house roof. Is that?
So if the garage roof has now also, it's been okay. My brother, we've tried to do everything with our own hands that we were able to do to fix things. So in the downstairs, we restored the hardwood floors and made repairs that we could do with our hands. And my brother did some patchwork on the roof 2 or 3 years ago, and it didn't really work. We tried, and the garage roof is secondary, right? If there's not money to get it repaired, that's fine, we can accept that. The problem is that the garage roof is slanted and the front section is damaged. So we can try and patch the roof, but until we can patch that front section, every time it rains, it slides under the shingles and gets into the wood. So unfortunately, that's a little bit outside of our expertise to handle on our own at this point. We're primarily concerned with the house. If there are funds available to do the garage roof, that would make a huge difference.
I think it's certainly a worthwhile project. I would ask for a formal quote on the house roof. Then we know how much it's going to cost you. And, if you can get it at the same time, get a quote on the garage and give us both prices, then we can.
Yes, we would.
Then we can say, then we know what we're paying for.
Yeah.
The garage, you could do a separate application once the house is done.
Okay.
And then reapply for another grant. This first project has to be done, completed before the second one. So you can,
Sure.
and as long as there's funds available.
Right.
If the funds, we have funds, so there you can reapply for the second project as well.
Absolutely. And hearing that you can do windows too, we still have the original windows downstairs with the sashes and the weights, and those ropes do rot out, so it makes me nervous every time we have to handle them. So knowing that we could make, that is hopefully not going to be an emergency situation, so we'll be able to handle that, on our own, but knowing that that's available to us is a big relief. They're very heavy. They make me nervous.
Has this house been the same family for?
Since 1929, yeah. Yeah, we really love that. It's full of very happy memories, and
What was your parents' business? What was their business?
Top Hat Leather. And then my father's parents owned the Union City Dry Cleaners.
Okay.
So we are very rooted here in Erie, and we love this community a lot, so.
So is this the front?
Yes.
And this is the back?
Yes, and
Okay.
I have pictures of the roof, if you would like to review those as well.
So,
I actually just
So
walked
what-
by
what
that
all
house
are you
about a week
gonna-
ago, as a matter of fact.
what are you gonna
as I was
do?
walking here.
Yeah.
Are you keeping all the windows, or are you gonna, what's the plan there?
So those windows, they're perfectly fine.
Uh-huh.
They're in good condition. The windows on the sides of the building that we would access from
Uh-huh.
inside, they are, as of now, still in good condition. I try and not touch them as much as possible because they're, like I said, very heavy. So,
But
and that would
were you
be
gonna
that.
scrape and paint and,
Yeah, it's unfortunately, as you can see, the first level, my brother was able to, a couple of our neighbors got a pressure sprayer. I'm not sure what to call it, but we were able to paint the bottom floor and the garage, and we did what we could at that time. But obviously, the second floor is a little bit, you have to be really tall. That's unfortunately not in our family genes.
Did our West Bayfront talk to you about the lead paint issues? Because given the age of the house,
Sure.
It's got lead paint on it, right? And lead paint chips and sanding and all that stuff, it can be hazardous to your health, you know?
Yes, so we didn't, when my brother handled the porch, we didn't do a lot of chipping or sanding for that reason, but we knew that we needed to protect the wood. And so we knew that it was not going to be a permanent solution, but it was what we were able to do at the time.
I'm just worried about like your brother, if he's up there scraping and then he's breathing in the lead dust.
Sure.
There's abatement procedures and stuff like that, but.
To be honest, I'm
1929,
not sure.
it is. Yeah, the lead paint's below it though. I can just tell it peeling my garage was the same thing, the cap flips off there because it's lead paint.
So
But-
it sounds as if, Jeff, I know you didn't make this in the form of a motion, but it sounds as if you may be leading to a motion to table this until we get a cost estimate for the specific projects that you would like to get done
Absolutely.
with this grant funding.
Yes.
Okay.
And the main reason we didn't prepare those ahead of time is because we have been working with our West Bayfront, and they have contractors they select.
Sure.
So we were initially very eager to get some estimates for them so we could get work going, and they said, no, we will handle that. And so that's why we kind of stalled, and they directed us to you, for which we are, like I said, extremely grateful. So we can get those.
Even if our West Bayfront can provide,
The bid scope should include a breakdown of finances, I believe, if I recall correctly. And that,
This bid, which looks like it was done by the redevelopment authority, they've got the roof estimates on it, not the paint.
I was going to say, so I did see the roof, I didn't see the painting, but then I also,
there's some damage to the fascia and the soffit and things like that was included there as well.
that was included in the roof.
It should be. They're aware of, in order for the house to be insured through PA Fair, those repairs needed to be made, and we were in communication with them to emphasize the
What was the
necessity
date
of
on
that.
that estimate? Was that recently?
The bid scope was prepared this past fall, I believe. It was for, and I do apologize. I'm
okay.
just
If we
Given
had,
delivery problems and labor problems, if you got an up-to-date bid from a contractor, I think you'd be better off because you may find material cost has gone up.
okay. Yeah,
And I
absolutely.
think the other caution there too is it talks about wood deck repair. You may find there's additional scope and then once you tear the roof off and find a lot of wood, but you won't know that until, but having a good, solid price from a contractor, I think that would help us to say, we know what you're trying to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Chris would probably know.
Yes.
Yes.
As soon as you get what you email it, right?
She's great.
Oh, that would be wonderful. Thank you all so much.
Okay. All right.
thank you,
Okay. All
thank
right.
you,
So
thank you.
Do we need to make that as a motion to
Yes.
table it?
Yep.
All right, so I'll make a motion to table it until we receive actual quotes, and you may email them to Chris, and then I think it's just, you don't even need to really come to the next meeting, right? We'll have the scope.
Sure, absolutely.
Okay.
Thank
You're
you so
welcome
much.
to come.
Yeah,
welcome to come.
yes. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Okay.
Second,
I second.
all in favor, please signify by aye.
Aye.
Okay, fantastic. Next on the agenda is Tom Ferraro, 656 West 9th Street.
Hi, everyone. First of all, I want to thank you for this opportunity, this grant opportunity. My application is, I think, fairly simple. I'm looking to replace 7 windows in our home on the lower level. My wife and I have owned the home for approximately 10 years. The house was built in 1899. It is one of 3 that run consecutive that all have similar architecture. I believe the same builder built the homes. Since we've been in the home, we have done several improvements. We've replaced the roof. We have rebuilt the porch. I am very attuned to aesthetic, trying to do the repairs aesthetically, historically proper. These windows, when we moved into the house, none of the windows on the lower level opened. So they have all been
Painted shut.
They have all been sealed shut.
Right.
About 3 years ago, maybe 2, we replaced 3 of the windows that would be on the north, 2 on the north side of the home and 1 on the east side of the house. This remaining 7 would be what remains downstairs. The project initiated with us thinking about there's a turret in the front of the home, and there's 3 windows in the turret. Those windows are Oreo windows, and meaning that it's not a 50-50 split. And at some point, somebody had put storms on the windows that have a 50-50 split, so they've never been really aesthetically pleasing. And because they can neither the storms or the interior windows open, we've never been able to clean the inside. So even though, we can't get to it, spiders can and bugs can, and dirt can. So it's been it's gotten a little nasty.
Yeah.
We heard about this grant opportunity through our West Bayfront, of which I'm fairly actively involved in my career as an artist and a public artist. So I don't know if the commission has any questions for me. We did get an estimate from Seaway. That is what I presented. They are the same company that did the windows that we did previously. We did those windows to match the windows that are in the upstairs that were done prior to us owning a home. So by appearance, they appear to be historically accurate to the other homes that are built similar to ours.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no grates in them and things like that. Our estimate on the 4 windows that are in the room where the turret is, the interior of the windows would be they're all aluminum clad. The interior would be finished to match the interior woodwork that is in the interior of the home. We're fortunate that other than one room, none of the woodwork has been painted inside, and we want to try to keep that.
And the windows in the turret, I've seen them actually round. These are not round.
These are not round. The turret's round, but no, the windows themselves are
so
not.
these are flat. I assume that when they put the storm windows on them. Okay, so you're going to replace them with
I love
to
your
match
house.
the
I drive by it every day.
Oh, thank you.
Because I'm at 333.
You're on West Ninth as well, yes. So I'm open for questions, or if you need any further info.
So the new windows are going to be exact match.
They will be
Right.
the exact match of what's there,
Cool.
yes. And there are the 3 on the turret. There's another window in that same room that faces west. And then there are 3 kitchen windows that also have never opened.
They will now.
We hope so, yes.
Tom, are you putting the storms back on? The storms, you said they were on the line?
No,
or?
the storms
Okay.
will be gone.
See, sometimes it does save energy,
Yeah.
whatever. I just
Yeah.
was
No,
asking,
we'll
because I
take-
knew
we'll
it
take
bothered you.
We'll take the storms out. The windows that, the replacement windows will have built-in, storms, so not necessary.
Great.
So of the 7 that you're replacing, are 4 of them the 4 originals that are left?
They are the last of the originals that would be
Yeah.
in the house.
They're
yeah.
part of the 7 that are,
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
I saw the chain in the,
Yes, the 4 have the chains, and then the 3 in the kitchen have the ropes. So my Seaway, who did the estimate, said the chains are earlier. They were probably original to the home. And then the ones with the ropes probably came maybe in the 20s or 30s, but still pretty old.
still
but-
pretty old, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It's also just as a note, it's I think our 4th home that are pre-1930 that we've owned in our lifetime. And we love the character of old homes, the history of them, and that's really what we're hoping to preserve in this home.
Good.
That's music to our ears. That's great.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the grant.
You are officially the motioner.
I second.
Seconded by Craig. All in favor, please signify by aye.
Aye.
Aye. Fantastic. Congratulations on your grant.
Well, thank you. I appreciate the help.
In the amount of $6,900.
Okay.
Thanks, Tom.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so next we have Kevin Nadolny. Did I butcher your name, Kevin?
Hello, I'm here on Zoom.
Fantastic.
No, that's good.
You want to tell us a little bit about your project?
Okay, my project, I'm looking to replace 2 doors. They're pretty old, and the one door has a gap in the bottom of it, and they're not aesthetically pleasing. And put on 2 storm doors as well. My house is half brick and half aluminum siding. So the aluminum on the second floor is dull and it's weeping onto the bricks and it just needs repainted. I don't know when the last time it was repainted. And my bricks, just the south side, it needs tuck pointed. The mortar's all falling out. I have a couple bricks falling out.
Did we lose him?
Are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still
Okay.
here. I got, so that's 3 different projects. I got the estimates and I submitted them with the application. I didn't know if you had any questions.
So I had questions about the doors that were selected for replacement. So one of the doors being replaced is the door that has unpainted, has a wood finish, windows from probably taking up about 3/4 of
first
the door
floor?
itself. Yeah. And so your replacement door is a solid white door?
Right.
Although know that the photographs may
Right.
be misleading, just because I don't think our photographs are in color, but
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, the door is white, so I'll replace it with the white door. The second floor, the door's white as well. That would also be a white door with a white storm door instead of what's on there now is like a steel looking storm door.
And you don't want to try and have the windows in the door?
Well, I'm not sure what you mean by that.
Well, I mean, the door is a really pretty door that you have now. I'm just,
Somewhat comparable in design.
Well, there's a big gap on the bottom of that door that, there's, it might be even a ½ inch wide at the bottom, and it's just letting in dirt, snow, and
yeah, the doors.
yeah.
I mean, it's really gonna. Beautiful door. I know, it's a gorgeous door. Did
Well,
you
I'm
try, did you
keeping
try
the
to
door
get
on
a
the-
door that
on the
looks
front
like
door,
that
the
door?
solid,
I'm sorry, I'm so
the
sorry.
solid
what-
wood door on the front that, sorry. I'm gonna keep that solid, wood door with, the one that goes up the steps a little bit. I'm keeping that one. That one's a beautiful door. The one that I would be replacing would be on the opposite side. It faces the south. That one is white, and
Oh, okay.
that one's the door that
Okay,
has a
I'm
big
sorry,
gap.
I was looking at your front door.
The one with the half window?
No, I love that door. That's a beautiful door. I want to keep that.
The one on
Oh.
the front door. The one.
That's excellent to hear.
Yeah.
That was one of the things that was not, it was
So
difficult to
The front door
understand.
is not being altered, is that correct? The,
Well, I was gonna put like a screen door in front of it. That way I can keep the door open and get some fresh air in. It was like a screen sliding, it's mostly glass.
okay,
Storm door.
you're gonna put a screen door in front of the pretty glass door that is facing your front, the walkway, right?
Correct.
Okay, so you're not undoing that door,
One more, right there.
right?
No, that door is gonna remain, yeah.
Yeah, but that
Okay.
looks like it has a
And so
feature
the,
that
so which
resembles-
door is
Sorry
it?
if I was,
Raise the-
yeah.
See how that has the three?
The white door that has a window
has
in
the
it?
three as well.
Okay, that's one that's getting replaced.
Right,
Okay,
And/or
right,
matches
and then the second
windows,
floor
the divides of
one with
windows.
it's got like a aluminum, storm door on it now.
Then the replacement would be solid, right?
okay, this is the one, this is the downstairs one. So,
That was mine.
yeah, but that looks like a window door, or those look like windows.
But it
No,
has-
a
it has
windowed
lights in
door,
it,
she
right?
said. A windowed door. And it's a window door that actually matches the,
Right, so they're gonna put a solid door there?
so I believe that's what's proposed, correct? Kevin, you're looking at the second floor door on the front.
Right, there should be a window on that second floor door.
Okay, so does it have, is it solid at the bottom and a window on the top?
Right, that's it.
Is that how it is now? It's not this, it doesn't look like the front door window, right? A door, right? Or yes?
No, it's a little different than the first floor. It does have a window in the top of the door now.
So on
So
that
is that a
porch,
screen, is that a screen door on it now or something?
On the second floor, it's just, there's no screen, it's just a solid, aluminum door, it has a window in it as well.
You couldn't find one that had a window like this one does?
On the second floor,
Yeah.
the one I want to put in is going to be, it's going to be a big window on the screen door.
all right, let me take this
It's gonna
one
be
at a
like
time
half
here. Wait,
screen.
No, I'm confused. I'm
Kevin,
sorry.
let's take them one at a time right now.
Okay.
On the second floor door,
Okay.
you're going to replace the existing door with a new door that is half glass, a single light, not divided in three like the adjacent windows. Is that correct?
That's, yeah, that, I
Single
believe
single
that's
light.
what I submitted.
Okay, a new door, and no storm door,
Okay.
correct?
No, I will have a storm door on the second floor, yeah.
Okay, and that'll be,
But the storm door is going to have a giant window in it.
okay, but that storm door is basically full glass, right?
Uh-huh, okay.
True, Kevin?
Correct.
Okay, so then the front
Correct,
porch
yes.
door, the main door down on the first floor, you're keeping the existing wood door and you're putting a new storm door on it that will be full glass, correct?
Okay. So you can
Correct.
still see the
I'm waiting for
door.
Kevin to answer that. That's correct, right?
Okay.
Yes, correct.
Okay,
yes.
then the door on the south elevation is going to be a flush door, no glass,
Okay, this one.
correct?
Yeah, okay.
Is that Kevin, is that correct?
Well, that door on the south, on the main elevation should have a window in it. I think it's going to be a solid door though, just with a window, kind of like what's there right now.
Okay, all right, so it will be a new door, half glass.
So everybody's gonna be half glass. Each door
Correct.
is half glass.
There's only two new doors, right? The front door is going to be the existing wood door.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's
So-
just
Correct.
getting a
It's 2 new
storm,
doors and 2
clear
new storm
storm
doors.
door.
Storm door on the
Okay,
wood
and the
door
second
that
floor
remains.
is getting a new door
And a storm door.
and a storm door. Okay, but it's gonna have a window in the top.
Single window, not divided,
Oh, not the
divided lights.
divided window. Oh, okay.
And then the south side will be a new door with half glass, a single light.
Okay.
Correct.
Okay, there you go.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry, what
Sorry if that was a little
confused me were these
confusing.
pictures of it looked to me like an aluminum solid doors. That's what got me off
I
track.
think that's the storm door.
The pictures on the scan look like they're solid doors, but if you look very carefully, you can see that they have windows.
Oh, okay, well, I'm
But
sorry.
I'm looking at them, it's hard to see on the scan.
They look solid to me, so I
The scan's
apologize.
really hard.
I was confused. Okay. Well, your house is lovely, and it's,
Thank you.
Lit house.
what a great rhododendron, my goodness.
You should see it now. It's all full bloom.
It's full of blooms, right? Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Right.
All right. I'll make a motion that we approve the grant.
Okay, we have a motion on the table. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Seconded, all in favor, please signify by aye.
Aye.
Fantastic. And so the amount of the grant is going to be $11,962.80. Does that sound right to you, Kevin?
Thank you very much.
Thank
Yes.
you. Thank you.
Thank you, and I'm sorry I was confused.
Oh, it's okay. I'm
I
sorry.
didn't
Thank
see
you
the
very much.
glass in the door.
Okay, and so then we have the two that are remaining. We have Aaron Kerner, 1037 West 24th Street, which is one of the applications that the commissioners did not have access to prior to the meeting. And Austin, I know I will butcher your name, Austin, so I'm going to say 215 Cherry Street. Your application as well as one that the commission was not provided, or for whatever reason, there was a technical glitch where we didn't receive access to it ahead of the meeting. So since you are both in attendance, we do want to hear from you today. Note that we just will probably table so that we can actually take the time to look at your application. But we'll start, Aaron, with you. Aaron Kerner.
Could I just interject? Is there an application for Laura Bebco that is going to be reviewed?
So Laura, your application was tabled last month with the request that estimates be solicited and provided.
Thank you.
Yes, and they were.
Okay, so Laura, we're going to have to hunt those down. Chris, do you recall who you sent them to?
Chris, and he responded that it would be reviewed today.
I'll have to look back. I don't recall, but I'll have to look back.
Thank you. Oh, you're so good.
I'll have to look back on that. I don't recall, but that doesn't mean anything right now at the moment.
Okay, would there be any way that if I send it, like resend it to you now, that it could be looked at today?
Yeah, if you want to send them in now, I mean, I don't know that they'll be able to review them. I mean, I could forward them to Melinda. But if you can send them now, I mean, that's up to Melinda if she wants to review them.
So either Chris or Laura, go ahead and send them to me, and if our commissioners have phones with them, I can very quickly send it back out to our commission members. They can review via phone, and we'll see if we can get this addressed. If we have time on the end. Does that sound agreeable to you? Laura?
Yeah, I will resend that now.
Okay, thank you. So while you're doing that, we're going to jump back to our review of the two remaining applications that are on the agenda. So, Erin?
Yes.
Okay. Go right ahead.
First of all, thank you for the time. I appreciate the opportunity to come and speak in front of everyone. I'm sorry about the mishap with the application. I know Kathy Schaaf put it on Chris's desk back in early May, but I called a few times to see if it was received, but sorry about that. I am a brand new homeowner. This is my first home ever.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. I've just actually moved back from Erie. I was born and raised here. I've been living in New York City for the last 13 years, and I've come back home to start a new life, a different change of pace, and start a business. So I figured it'd be the best time to purchase a home, and I fell in love with this one, which is on Washington Park. It's right across the street. I thought that felt like the closest thing to Central Park I may get in Erie, so it felt like a great decision. I've always wanted a project that was kind of a fixer-upper, and that is what this is. I will say right now, it's kind of the ugly duckling on the block. All my neighbors have done a great job of maintaining their house, but through whatever circumstances, the previous owners didn't keep it up as well as maybe I would have liked. So there's a lot to do on this house. The first project I'd like to tackle is the roof. So hopefully it's hard to tell because I couldn't get up there to get like in-depth pictures, but I did bring some samples because the roof is currently falling off into my neighbor's yard. So when we took possession back in April, we cleaned most of it up, but this is actually new roof that has blown over the last couple days. So I thought I would bring some in just so you guys could see kind of the condition. This obviously will be the first project that I do, but I also have the 34 windows to replace, so I would love to know that other gentleman's contractor for $10,000 because I will need that. The bricks will need to be reappointed. I have original hardwood floors, which I'm going to redo, so it's definitely a huge project, so I'm just hoping for any support towards the exterior portions of the house that'll help maintain the historic integrity. I have no intention of, really modernizing the outside. I love that it's an older home, and I intend to respect that, but I just like to make changes where possible, and starting with the roof.
Well, that's a good place to start.
Yeah, I think so too. So that's kind of my spiel, but I just wanted to say, like, when I bought the house and I realized what a project it was and how the quotes started adding up, when somebody told me about this grant, I thought what an amazing opportunity, and the fact that you guys are reinvesting back into Erie, and especially for people that are coming back, I think it's a great incentive to bring them back to Erie because they do have the support to make these projects feel a little bit more bearable. So thank you in advance for your consideration.
Did you have a home inspection done before you bought that?
I did not. It was an as-is. I think they knew there was a lot to be done, so I didn't have it done. I was going to buy it regardless of the home inspection. We do know that there's a lot of knob and tube inside, that we're going to have the electrical completely rewired. The plumbing needs to be redone. There's a little water in the basement. So there's a lot to be done. I knew I wanted this house, and the inspection wasn't going to really sway my decision one way or the other. So,
did you look at other houses besides this?
I did. I actually looked at 251 West 21st, which is another historic home. That was a much greater project than this one was going to be, so we did pass on that for the time being anyways. But this was the, I think, third or fourth home that I looked at.
Okay, good. Well, this one clearly needs a
So
roof.
what are your plans for the roof, or you don't have your quote yet?
No, I do have the quote. I brought an additional copy. So
is this the only copy?
It's the only physical copy I have. I have it on my computer. I can pull it up and show it to you guys.
I also have the scan of the application. For some reason, I'm just not able to access the application.
Oh, okay.
We have it scanned in, but for some reason, we can't see it.
Okay.
Is it a complete tear-off?
And then I did have 5 different roofing companies come in. I had Angelo's, Pinnacle, Oaks Construction. I had Ramo Builders, which they leverage Amish builders. And then the quote that I ultimately decided to go with, if approved, is Leon Construction. I was able to negotiate with them because I'm having some interior work done in the house that they're also going to do, so they were able to come down on their roof quote as well, which felt nice. So if approved, I would like to go with them.
Question, I'm looking at the quote here. It says, existing shingles consist of 1 layer asphalt, and the other one says, or complete tear-off, and both are checked?
So they're going to tear off all, like, my neighbor said there could be 2 to 3 layers of shingles below this one, so we didn't want to continue to put layers on
Yeah,
top of
because
it.
you could have issues if there's too many layers, because then it starts
Exactly.
delaminating and.
So right now, they've quoted for removal of one of the layers, but I did put on my application asterisks that if they find additional layers, it'll be, I think, $400 per layer to remove additional layers.
Yeah, great.
So I'm praying that there's only 1 or 2 layers, but we won't know until they start to work.
Yeah, that's great. It's good, good
Yeah, it looks
proposal.
like-
It covers those things.
Yeah.
It also looks like from the picture that roof edge is curved,
It
right?
does.
Which is, makes it a challenge.
Like a mansard,
to-
yeah, they
to-
even mentioned that as a
Yeah.
mansard type of roof.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
we're going to maintain that. People have asked if I wanted to keep that curve, if they could do something. I said, no, keep it exactly as it is.
It's just
Some little
challenging
challenge,
to
yes.
do that, you know, to roof that, but it can be done, obviously.
Yes.
Be more challenging to change it.
Well, true.
So do you guys have any questions
Thank
for
you
me?
for letting us see this quote. Appreciate it.
Oh, no problem.
I will add that the quote and the picture she has, and what she says is not much different from the application that we have scanned, so.
I personally don't have any questions.
Are you using red? Is it red you put back?
It's currently red. I'd like to switch the color to like onyx.
Okay, just asking.
Okay.
What color is onyx?
Onyx is like black.
Okay, all right,
Yep.
good.
And you can kind of see here, like it's not like a bright red. It's
That's the existing one.
yeah. This is the existing. In case anybody wants
I
to
think
see.
black would look better with a brick anyhow.
You see, that's what I think. You've got great taste.
We can't legislate color. Okay, I think you have a current quote. I'll make a motion to approve the grant.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Seconded, all in favor, please signify by aye.
Hi.
Aye.
And the total on the application was $12,060.
That's the estimate, right?
Well,
That's-
the total project cost is $13,400. So the total that Chris just gave you is the grant request amount,
Okay.
is $12,060,
Right.
with the property owner contributing $1,340.
Okay.
And so the grant would be in the amount of $12,60.
Okay.
Thank you so much. I appreciate
Okay,
it.
all right.
This won't be the last time you see me. I'll be back.
Okay, you'll be back.
Thank you.
Well, we'll want to see the roof.
And so, Aaron, also, you did thank, no, go ahead. I just wanted to make note, you did thank us, but we also should also thank City Council for actually designating the funds to support this grant program.
Thank you, City Council. Thank you, Chuck. Appreciate it.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
The whole interior, all the work they're putting into it, it's pretty substantial. I'm pretty excited about it.
Fantastic.
Yeah, a lot of sweat equity. I was working in fashion in New York, but now I am plastering, I'm filling holes, I'm demoing basements, attics. We've taken out part of the chimney. It's been a project, so I'm invested.
Thank you, thank you. Okay, moving on then. Austin, let's see, we, again, fully admit, commissioners do not have the final draft of the application in front of them. So if you want to talk us through the proposed plans for 215 Cherry, we would love to hear them.
Yeah, definitely. Can you hear me okay?
We can.
Does anyone have a
Perfect.
picture?
Yeah, hi, everyone.
Yeah, I have it on my phone. Can you see it?
Oh. Yeah, hi, everyone. My name is Austin Kononchek. I believe my father, Gerald Kononchek, might be present in the room as well. This is regarding 215 Cherry Street. This is a single-family residence that was originally constructed in 1877. So I believe it may be the oldest property that we talked about, at least today, nearing the 150-year mark. And my project would be for the addition of a two-car garage as well as a breezeway onto the primary structure. And this total cost of this, just for the materials, would be roughly $18,500. So I'm requesting a grant amount of $15,000. Kind of the logic we have behind starting with the garages is this is a full gut rehab. Pretty much everything on the property will need to be replaced. It's been uninhabitable for around 8 to 10 years now. And as I mentioned, I purchased it in December of 2022. So I've definitely invested a lot of time and money into this project. This would be, I guess, quote unquote, phase one. Kind of throwing around like a rough estimate of numbers. The total project costs will be roughly $125,000 to $150,000. As I said, it's currently uninhabitable. No one's lived in it for, I believe it's around 7 to 8 years. And yeah, this would just be like a great starting spot for us to, put materials in. As I mentioned, some full gut rehab, so everything's gonna have to be replaced. And we'd like to get, this phase completed by the end of the year so that we could, continue with the rest of the project. During the winter months, as you know, we don't have too many months where you can work outside in Erie, so that we thought this would be, a really good starting point.
So the request that you're bringing before the commission is to do which work specifically?
This would be just for the materials of the addition of a 2-car garage / breezeway. We went to Lowe's. I'm not sure, so I know you guys don't have my application, but I did receive a materials quote a few months ago from Lowe's, and that was roughly $18,500 just for the materials for that addition.
Who would be doing the work?
I believe we've spoken to a few people. I'm actually not sure who exactly. I know Gerald's in the room, if he could clarify. I know we've had brief, at least introductory conversations with a few people on getting quotes, but I'm not exactly sure who will actually be doing it.
But it wouldn't be you, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
And it looks, Austin, like you're doing a total renovation on this, and why are you choosing to focus on the garage first?
That would just be like a good starting point. Yeah, like I said, we're gonna pretty much have to gut the entire property. So we thought it'd be a nice, safe place to store, tools and materials, throughout the winter months, because, hopefully we can get, this larger part of the project done, before the end of the year, and then, continue with the rest of the house and kind of use that as a home base for the remainder of the project.
So looking at the guidelines here, I do see that the guidelines state specifically that preservation, restoration, rehabilitation work can be performed on existing additions to the original structure, and or work on compatible auxiliary or outbuildings, but in this case, you're talking about new construction, right? You're talking about building a brand new addition, so not necessarily preservation, restoration, or rehabilitation work on an existing addition or an existing outbuilding, but you're talking about a brand new construction project. I'm just asking for clarification.
Yes, that's correct. Yeah, so I did, there was a little bit of back and forth between myself and Chris regarding the fourth bullet point of the eligible projects section of the guidelines. That's kind of why I think initially mine was denied, and he wanted to bring it before the board for review. Like I said, we're gonna pretty much be replacing everything on the house, and the reason why we wanted to start, with this section, just kind of give us like a home base for the remainder of the project, because, the interior will be completely gutted as well. So that's kind of where we're at in terms of, we weren't sure if it really met the guidelines. I know that the focus is preservation and restoration. As I mentioned, this house is almost 150 years old, and I don't know the last time that anybody touched it. So, definitely if needed, I can tailor my application to fit other needs of the project, but this is kind of the first phase that I would like to complete, and kind of why I chose to go that route with my application.
Do we have additional questions from the commission?
What all are you going to be doing to the main part of the house?
So the main structure, I guess one thing I didn't note was that due to the location of this house, it actually had to go through a waterfront conditional use application process, which the approval is included in my application that I submitted. But that included, waterfront design and planning review commission approvals. So in terms of the exterior of the house, the wrap around the L porch, we would like to, keep as much intact as possible. Really, we would like to preserve as much of the building, as possible. As I say, it's 150 years old, so unfortunately some stuff's going to have to get replaced. But the main goal is to preserve it, historically preserve it as much as possible, while also updating, to fit the modern living standards. Another reason why we chose with the garages is it currently doesn't have off-street parking, and it's also situated on Grove Alley. So a little bit of an awkward situation in terms of, parking, especially you have 1-2 cars. So that's, kind of another reason why the garages have been, the main focus for step one.
So, Commissioners, this might be a little late in the process, but Chris was able to send me the Austin's application, and I just forwarded it to you.
Oh, okay.
So
did it go to my text or to my email?
Email.
Okay.
And there's one other thing to note, there is renderings for the complete project included in my application. Those were completed by architect Michael Crabb. He did his best to, maintain the integrity of the structure while also, as I mentioned, to update the, living quarters to fit, modern standards. We're gonna go, I think your guys' copy is in black and white, with the buyout blue, vinyl siding, which kind of I feel like will fit nice due to its close proximity to Presque Isle Bay. And yeah, it's definitely a big project. This will facilitate my move back to Erie, Pennsylvania. I currently live and work in New York City, but once this is completed, I will hopefully get to return home.
Linda, you said you emailed it?
Did it not go through?
I'm not
You
getting
have a lot
it.
of attachments to it.
This is a
probably.
large file.
Might be too
Yeah.
big.
It might take a while.
Let's try this
Might take
again.
a while.
I can send it to your messenger if you have it.
Oh, I just got it.
Did you? Okay.
Okay. I also forwarded you Laura Bepko's on Messenger.
And it's already been sent out.
Okay, good.
Yep.
You got that one.
So I know you're adding the garage, but was there originally a little barn or something back there?
So there was, there actually is an addition currently on the east section where the breezeway would go. But unfortunately, the foundation is compromised, and we've received a permit to actually demolish that section. It's just, unfortunately, it's just not able to be saved. It's more of like a, I guess you could call it like a mudroom.
Now, is this a photograph or is this like a computer rendering?
It's a rendering.
So that is a 3D color rendering of the proposed completed project.
So is there an issue about new construction versus?
So eligible projects are preservation, restoration, and rehabilitation projects. We do not include new construction.
Right,
You can
so
just reapply for.
can they apply for
renovation.
the other things that they're doing to the main house?
Yes. Even, yes. And that's, I think Austin, that's what we'd probably encourage you to do, even though, you've made it very clear that this is your first effort with this property. You'd like to construct this garage first for lots of different reasons, right? Including using the building itself as a staging area for other construction work and storing tools and whatever else. I think for this particular grant program, the work that you will do on the exterior of the house, which is the existing historic structure, most certainly would be something we'd like to entertain an application pertaining to.
Okay, yeah, no, I definitely can resubmit my application. As I said, it's definitely a lot of work to be done, and I'm sure I can find something else that will fit the guidelines a little bit closer. And
it's an old
resubmit
house.
that.
There's always a project, right?
Well,
There's always something that can be done.
It's definitely, you're creating a beautiful-looking house from what was blighted right now, so it's
Yes.
certainly a worthwhile project. But
Definitely a
I
good
agree with Melinda, right? We need to preserve the existing building rather than set the precedent of funding new construction.
And we would be delighted to help you
Yeah.
with your main structure. So why don't you?
Yeah, no, definitely.
Can I suggest we table this, let him come back to us with things that he needs to do to the main building?
We absolutely can do. Austin, would you be agreeable to that, us tabling this application and giving you the opportunity? Would you prefer to revise your existing application or simply come in with a new one?
Yeah, no, I'm definitely open to doing that, and I'll just revise my existing application and get quotes for something else that'll fit the guidelines, and hopefully we can get that one approved.
That sounds great. As Jeff mentioned, as Craig has mentioned, what you're doing is incredible. We're so thankful that you're choosing to invest in a property in the city, and we very much would like to support your work. It just needs to be within the guidelines of this particular funding program. So will we enter?
Completely understand. Thanks everyone for the time.
Thank you. Will we entertain a motion from someone to table as we wait for a revised application?
Yes, I would like to move that we ask for a revised application that is on the main structure.
All right, I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Fantastic. Wonderful. We will be watching then for the revised application to come through.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So what I'll do this week, probably tomorrow, is forward all approved applications to the redevelopment authority. And then within the next week or so, they should be contacting you about a contract. And then they'll handle all that part of it. So they'll be the ones dispersing the funds. I'll be reviewing, I'll be inspecting, make sure that everything meets everything once the project's done. But they're the ones who will handle the funds. I just have to send them the application and a note saying that we've approved it.
And you realize it's a reimbursement grant, right? You spend the money and then they refund, well, they will pay you after Chris inspects the work, yeah.
I can go ahead and give my contractor the green light.
I'm sorry?
I can go ahead and say okay to contractor to schedule.
I would, well, yes, you can, but I wouldn't start the work because don't start the work until you actually have your agreement signed.
A grant agreement. Yeah.
Thank you.
And then we send out Laura Bebco's.
Okay, and Laura, you're still, yes, we see you, you're still on. We're just going to switch gears and
Yes.
pull up your application.
Is it in here too, Melinda?
We just got an email.
Oh, it's coming. Okay.
Oh, and Jeff, you may not have received it.
No, I got it.
Did you? Okay.
I got that one. I didn't get the Austin one. But.
I have the note that it was rejected by your email because the attachment was too
large. I often have that problem when scanning these things.
But I did get the Linda, or the Laura Bebka one, so yes.
I think when we tabled this last, it was, we didn't have actual quotes and the scope of work was kind of undefined.
Right,
So
right,
it seems
right.
like what we
Because this
got
one's
here
what,
is-
Sixth Street?
This is 6th Street Garden Court?
Yes.
Backs up the Garden Court?
Yeah, so I narrowed it down to brickwork, and I have a quote from the Alex Restoration and Masonry.
Yes.
And they give me a quote for doing the front part of the house. I don't know much about brickwork, but they did lay out all of the different things that would need to be done in the quote.
Oh, I see, it's after the pictures, okay, okay. So you're doing a lot of work to your brick, right?
Yeah, I guess they're gonna clean it, repair some of the bricks that they think need to be repaired. I guess repointing, repairing, I'm not sure exactly what goes into it, but they said it would be similar to different homes that they've done on 6th Street, what would need to be done.
Cool.
Did they give you a price on doing the brick front steps, or the brick front walkway? That looks like it needs some help.
They did. I actually didn't include those. I have people coming actually tomorrow to give me additional quotes. I didn't think that the walkway would be eligible for the grant, so I didn't submit anything. But I am actively getting additional quotes on that. Their quote for the walkway, I think, was around like 12, and I've gotten a few in that 10 to 20,000.
Okay. Yeah, that's certainly, well, this is just my opinion, it's not an official determination, but the walkway is certainly a historic piece of the house, that's for sure.
Oh, okay, well,
Well, that's just my opinion.
yeah, I mean,
Not
if
the rest of the
that's-
committee.
okay.
But,
Okay.
yeah,
So Laura, just for clarification, the total cost of the facade masonry repair work is $23,175.75. You're requesting $15,000, and then we'll pay the difference?
Correct.
Okay.
One thing I like about this quote is that it's a really proper way to do historic brick. Like they're talking about matching type and color and texture. So it's not just modern fill, modern mortar.
grab
So
whatever you get.
that's a nice little addition.
Yeah, these guys.
Yeah, I specifically went with them because I'm so impressed with the work that I've seen them do on 6th Street, and I just knew that they would do really good work.
Great.
Do we have any further questions?
And if there's additional, if there's additional grants left after this was finished, I would definitely get additional sides of the house done.
Any additional questions for this applicant?
No, thank you for all this detail.
Yeah, this is good. All right, I'll make a motion to approve the grant.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Dave. Everyone in favor, please signify by aye.
Aye.
Congratulations, you've been approved a $15,000 grant.
Wonderful, thank you so much.
Laura, we're appreciative that you were on today and patient, and
this
you were
is
able to
this
so
girl.
quickly send us information.
Oh, no, thank you very much. I really appreciate you reviewing it. I'm excited to get this work started.
Right.
Aaron brought hers with her. Did you all see it?
No.
Yeah, we have digital copies of them.
Okay.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Okay. You want that back?
No, it's okay. I mean, I'll keep it, but I have her original and then I have all the other.
So just to wrap up where we are with our Historic Building Improvement Grant Program, we have approved with today's meeting, we have approved, let me make sure all right. We have approved $335,397.10.
335.
397.10. That 10's pretty important.
If we keep this pace, we'll be out of funds.
Which is something we need to talk about. We could also, can't we raise money and do development?
We'll be talking to.
Yeah.
We can do
We'll
that.
be
Yeah.
developing something to talk to investors or folks who want to.
You said the authority is, the redevelopment authority has actually issued grant applications starting last week.
Yeah, and actually, I just got an email while we were sitting here. Well, I got, the other day, I've got the approval packet for PACA to inspect, and I also, while we were sitting here, just got the approval message to go inspect St. Stanislaus. So those are at least one or two grants that are completed. That the funds will be issued very soon.
And are we going to still try and have a meeting this summer that's not here, that isn't a public, anyone can come to the meeting, but it's, not here at
Depends
City
on
Hall?
what that meeting is. We need to define what that meeting is.
Well, we had talked about just trying to get some of the finer details of things kind of solid in all our
We need a
thought.
very specific, what the meeting is for. I'm fine
Well, I
with doing
think
a
it could be a
meeting.
lot of things. It could be future development plans for fundraising.
You're talking like a work session.
Oh, yes, a work
But the work
session.
session needs to be open, so maybe the work session, we just need to define the agenda.
Yeah, we need
Yeah.
to find an agenda and all that and what's on it. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I mean, why doesn't everybody send you a suggestion that they have? I think everyone here has a different issue they'd like to get clarified.
Yeah, we can do that.
So can we also, Chris, I didn't see it on the agenda, but can you also just let the commissioners know what we were approved for the CLG grant that was
Yes.
outstanding?
Everybody should have gotten an email. So a couple months ago, we got some information that sort of led us to believe that we did not receive CLG grant for 2022. There was a lot of issues with the State Historic Preservation Office. For whatever reason, it was difficult getting.
22 or 23?
2022. We just applied for 2023.
Oh.
So for 2022, we applied for grant funds, CLG funds, to pool with our Keystone Planning Grant funds to do a survey of the city. It seemed like we did not receive that grant. And they've been very slow to get paperwork. I mean, I'm just now getting the paperwork necessary to reimburse for our 2021 CLG grant, along with our training and then the conference trip. I'm just now getting that paperwork so we can get reimbursed. We did, a couple weeks before we applied for the 2023 grant, receive notification that we did in fact receive a 2022 CLG award. We received half the amount we asked for. We asked for $25,000, we received $12,500. So
Well, that's better than a snowball in the face.
they sent a letter. I was told they sent a letter in October. I never received a letter, and nor did the mayor's office receive a letter. So I'm not sure why we never received the letter. We should have, if by prior precedent, we should have received that letter by June of last year. But we never even received it at all. So we are able to then add those funds to our survey project.
So so we know that we have now 12.5 for the survey work, but we know that, right, the citywide, to conduct a citywide survey is going to be really pricey. So
Yes,
to match this 12.5, where are those funds coming from?
city funds.
Those are going to be city funds?
Yes, yes, all of that was approved last year, that city funds would be used. That was before Kathy and Dave's departure. That was built into the budget.
And because those city funds were probably in the amount of 25,000, thinking that we were going to perhaps receive 25,000, do we still have access to 25,000 of the city funds?
Good
Or will it
question.
be decreased to 12.5?
So with the Keystone grant, we do have to match 50-50, right? So it's 25 for 25. With the CLG grant, I believe our match was 10 or 15%, so we did not ask for 25,000.
Okay.
But we should still have access to whatever funds since it was in the budget. That's
Okay.
my understanding, but I will clarify for sure.
Okay. And then, do we know how we are going to approach determining which geographic footprint is the focus for what might be a $15,000
Right.
project?
Right. So we'll have, what is it, 50,000? We'll have around $70,000 to do the survey, but that's definitely not going to pay for the entire city. I think as part of the scope of work, part of that will determine, I think, some on the plan. I think some of it will determine, I think we have to focus on certain parts, downtown core, or the you know, certain core neighborhoods. But I think part of that will be, part of the consultant's job is to help us determine which one should focus on first and how we should build that. That's where we are right now.
Okay, so when you say 70, that adds in the 25,000 of
Keystone.
of the 2022 Keystone Historic
Right,
Preservation
right.
Grant, and then the 25,000 match in the
Right.
city, which is 50,000.
Correct.
And then we add that to the
12.5 plus the, I believe it's 15% we have to match.
Okay.
So it should be around 70,000.
70 to 80,000
Yeah.
then, potentially.
Yeah.
Okay.
If we go out and do a piece, we pick a consultant, we go out and we do a piece of it, does that mean we're committed to use them for the rest of the survey?
No.
Or can we switch?
No, because our scope of work which will come out within the next couple weeks, I'll send that to Melinda this week.
Okay, thanks, Dave.
It'll be defined as funds allow. So a phase one will be the downtown area, the neighborhood surrounding that, and then we'll move out from there.
All right, but if we choose to go with somebody else
We can.
later on, we can
Yes.
switch.
Yes.
I bought a tape recorder, so we can tape the meetings.
Well, actually, and I
They're being
never-
recorded on Zoom. Yep, they're all recorded.
There you go.
I just thought, you know.
Did we adjourn?
Not yet, no.
This
Well,
is
we're
our
not
longest meeting yet.
necessarily, I mean, we were still chatting, so.
Yeah.
Okay, so in any case, I want to get this clear. So we have about 70,000.
Yeah.
Maybe a little over, to conduct the survey. So the strategy is, while the consultants are working on the historic preservation plan, to have them help identify
Yes.
the
Yes.
geographic footprint where the
Yes.
initial survey work will take
Yes.
place, because we know that the 70,000
Right.
will not cover a citywide
No,
survey.
absolutely not.
Yeah,
It
okay.
costs more like 150,000.
Right, just getting that out, so,
Yeah, and by the time we hire a consultant for the survey job, we should be at that stage where we know at least what the plan looks like. So,
But we'll decide which geographic areas.
well, the plan will help identify, as well as the consultants we hire will help us identify which neighborhoods to focus on first.
Okay.
do we have anything else for the good of today's order? Okay,
I already made my suggestion, the work session. I want the work session.
Yeah.
schedule work
And as long as
session.
everybody sends me some ideas, we can put together an agenda and get a time set.
Everybody can text or.
Well, let's put a deadline on it. Let's say by June 15th, we should have your inputs in the correct. All right.
You want to make that motion?
Sure, I make a motion to adjourn.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Okay, we are officially adjourned at 3:06 PM.